Hello there, let me take you on another trip down memory lane. It just so happens that I've managed to unearth more music CDs here. I'm going to have a little look at the collection. We'll kick things off with this dance track here. This was King of My Castle by Wamdoo Project. Actually purchased from HMV for $3.99. There is the compact disc and the track listings there. So that is the first single there. Now, who of you remembers Bubba Sparks? This is his track Lovely. I believed he teamed up with Timbaland for the beats. We have a 4-track listing. We have Lovely and the iconic track Ugly. We have No Chlorine and another edition of Lovely there. So I bet that brings back some memories for you. Around 2001, we all knew the lyrics to So Solid Cruise, 21 seconds there. One of the best producers to ever do it is, of course, Dr. Dre, back in the day. When he was riding high with Eminem. This was Forgot About Dre, and I'm sure we all knew the lyrics to that one. May have come from Dr. Dre's album, 2001. We also had Still Dre on this track, and a few more versions of Forgot About Dre, including the instrumental version. Oh yes. Who remembers the Thong song by Cisco? Featuring an Artful Dodger remix. The less said about that, the better. Mixing things up here. A little bit of Bon Jovi. This was It's My Life. And we also had a poster included with this purchase. There is the artwork on the rear. Okay, not the best track that this group made. That was 9 PM Till I Come. But we have one here by ATB. And this was Don't Stop. But it did feature a version of 9 PM, a remix, as shown on the track listing there. We have Give It To You by Jordan Knight there. 2 or 4-track listing there. Now, back in the early 2000s, when the UK garage scene was riding high, I'm sure a lot of you recall listening to A Little Bit of Luck by DJ Luck and MC Neat there. You have a rose on the front cover. CD contained there, and a 4-track listing. Okay, let's take one of these sleeve singles. I want to try and mix it up a little bit. We had some Daft Punk and their tune Aerodynamic there. This was an HMV import. One of my favourite tracks there. Has to be played very loudly. A track here by Eric E. The beat is rocking. Reduced to clear. That was a dance track bargain there for 50p. Another classic from around 2001 was Try Again by the late Aaliyah. Fortunately spent a little bit more than I would have liked at Virgin, £4.99. I believe that was produced by Timbaland, taken from the movie Romeo Must Die. And there's the CD there. Remember their track Push the Feeling. We had another dance tune which I enjoyed by the Night Crawlers. This was called Surrender Your Love, featuring John Reid. There is the unusual artwork there for you to appreciate. Okay, we have another West Coast rap artist here, I believe. Very catchy tune for me back in the day. This was Shade Shice, Where I Wanna Be, featuring the late Nate Dogg. Remember his vocals in the West Coast funk era. Absolutely fabulous singer. And Corrupt. That was Shade Shice, Where I Wanna Be. Okay, I'm going to mix it up again with another sleeve album this time. Now these were the tracks that used to come with game purchases. I believe we had Donkey Kong on the 64 there, with some music that was probably influenced by the game itself. Of artists such as Primal Scream, Oasis, Radiohead, Terrorvision and the Boo Radleys. Let's have a look at the CD for you. There we go, Donkey Kong Country, Go Ape. We had 8 tracks. We had Rocks, classic track by Primal Scream. Creep by Radiohead. I'm sure you all know that one. Oh yes, one of my favourite artists of all time has got to be the late and great Tupac. This may have been a posthumous release until the end of time. Interesting to see what other tracks are on here. We had Thuggin' You, Thuggin' Me, Tupac and Outlaws, Baby Don't Cry, and another version of Until the End of Time. Right, from the mid-90s I believe, a dance track we all used to bounce to at primary school was Boom 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 by the Out Here Brothers. Now, you should be warned, parental advisory. We all used to know the naughty words to this track, didn't we? we have a rap album lurking here, not in the original case, but I did enjoy this album. This was Nelly's Nellyville from around 2003, 2004. Some brilliant tracks on there, such as Pimp Juice, Number One, and a remix of the classic Rock the Mic with Beanie Siegel, and Freeway, of course, and Murphy Lee. Okay, we had a rock track here, purchased from Asda for £1.97. This was Hard Fire's Living for the Weekend. Another track here by Dr. Dre. This was Bad Intentions featuring Nocturnal. And it included video and the next episode featuring Snoop Dogg. Okay, back in the day, we all liked a little bit of smooth R&B. That was Usher's You Remind Me. Okay, one of my favourite feel-good tracks here that I can distinctly remember listening to at secondary school when times were good was, of course, Will Smith's Miami. It's a 2 CD limited collector's version. We also had Just Cruising and his iconic track, Just the Two of Us, the original being from Bill Withers. Guilty pleasure here, sorry, had to be done. Oh, we also had Will Smith's Just the Two of Us, separately on single here. $1.99 from the Virgin chart originally, but we managed to get it from Oxfam for £1. So we had a good bargain there. Okay, had a very dirty track here, sorry. Not sure if you've listened to the lyrics to this one, but we all enjoyed it back in the day. This was Crazy Rap by Afro Man. You'll also remember his track, Because I Got High. But this one was my favourite. Okay, collaboration here between the Stereophonics and Tom Jones. This was Mama Told Me Not to Come. A fairly expensive price there. Okay, one of my favourite rap tracks from back in the day was, of course, taken from Rush Hour 2, the soundtrack. Area Codes, again featuring the soothing vocals of Night Dog. Area Codes by Ludacris. A bit of an unknown artist here. This was Glamour Kid and his track Why. A very catchy tune. Oh yes, we had a boy band here. I wasn't a big fan of boy bands, but this group was okay. We had If You're Getting Down by 5. This was popular back in the day. Hey Ma, Cameron. Okay, so back in the 90s, we had a track that topped the charts, I believe, for a long time. This was Spaceman by Babylon Zoo. Remember the vocals to that one. Psychedelic artwork there. And we had 4 tracks on that single. Another 90s classic here. Of course, Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. I know you knew all the words to that one. Okay, a little bit more from the Welsh group Stereophonics. That was Mr. Writer, purchased from Virgin. Okay, we had another naughty track here, catchy as hell. It was The Bad Touch by the Bloodhound gang there, making fools of themselves in the picture. I don't know, you remember that track very well. Okay, we have another album here, not in the original case. This was the Police, Sting, some iconic tracks, Can't Stand Losing You, Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, and Every Breath You Take. Okay, back to West Coast rap. I'll give you a little clue. He was the original host of Pimp My Ride. We have X by Exhibit there. Oh, we also mentioned this track earlier. Of course, Dr. Dre, the next episode featuring Snoop Dogg. Absolute hip-hop classic, in terms of beat at least. Okay, dance/garage tune here. We had Fats and Small, Turn Around, with some remixes by none other than Fatboy Slim's Norman Cook. Another track here, Lurking by Usher. I believe this was his first release. You Make Me Wanna. Okay. One rapper who was very big in the 2000s. This was one of his mainstream tracks and was very popular, featuring Ashanti. This was Ja Rule's Always on Time. Okay, and I'm sure you all remember the beef between Jay-Z and Nas back in the day. This was one of his diss tracks, taken from the theme tune to The Sopranos. This was Got Yourself a Gun by Nas. mainstream rock here. But we all love this one, the guitar riff. This was Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away. As featured in the Peugeot 206 commercial, a vehicle I used to own. And a little bit of serendipity here, just talking about him. Norman Cook, Fatboy Slim, one of the best dance tracks ever made, in my opinion. It's right here, right now. Excellent gym track. Okay, many of you don't know that I like reggae, but this reggae artist, not one of my favourites, but he made a classic dancehall track. This was around 2006 time, King of the Dancehall by Beanie Man, so a dancehall classic. Huge tune in the 90s. You Get What You Give by the New Radicals. Three tracks there. Now one track that I really loved, that I'm not sure many of you know about, was this track by Sugar Ray. And this was called Every Morning. Still listen to that one to this day on my Spotify. And of course he had the mad rapper here, Mystical, with his iconic Shake Your Ass. And almost finishing where we started, we have the iconic track by Bubba Sparxxx, Ugly. Remember the Timbaland beat to that one? Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, now another track that I can claim I knew all the lyrics to back in the day. I used to rap to this one, of course. It was Ride With Me, featuring City Spud by Nelly. One of my favourites of all time. I believe it may have been his first release. Hi, My Name Is Slim Shady by Eminem. I also have an Eminem album in my collection, the Marshall Mathers LP. But we had three versions of My Name Is. We had the clean version, explicit, and the instrumental. I believe that was a remix of I've Got The by Labi Sharif. Oh yes, another of my favourite rappers from back in the day was The Game. This was Dreams. I believe Dr. Dre had a hand in his album. Look at the sleeve collection here. Now I believe I managed to purchase this by collecting some Pepsi tokens. This was Coolio's live performance of See When You Get There. We had another Nintendo game track here. Who remembers the beat 'em up game, Killer Instinct? We had the tracks taken from the world's levels. track listing there. It's very much a game I'd like to acquire again. We had a rock collaboration here. We had Bryan Adams featuring Melanie C. We had When You're Gone. One of my favourite euphoric dance tracks is here. This was Planet Funk, Chase the Sun, and it's up there with the track by Jakarta for me as a euphoric dance track. Bonus points if you can guess what single was contained in this pack. A little bit of wear and tear on this one. This single was the iconic track by Blur called Tender. And finishing off, of course, as a lifelong Manchester United fan, the title-winning team there. Come on, you Reds. I believe you've also seen that I've got this on cassette. So that's the CD single collection. Hope you enjoyed everything. Bye for now.